Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Dhena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripasindhavevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Gaur Premanande Haribo. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, two things I want to say before we start our Japa circle this morning. One is I'm going to read you a paragraph from Srila Prabhupada's purport to 217 in the Bhagavad Gita. So listen very carefully because this can help your meditation today in your Japa. And you'll see why. I'll give you a little clue why. Is because Krishna is in your heart. Your heart and you and Krishna are both within the region of the heart. And here's the paragraph. You may have read it before and it may have come in and gone out the other way. But recently I started digging into this paragraph and there's a lot of very interesting things. So here goes. Please listen carefully. The influence of the atomic soul can be spread all over a particular body. According to the Mundaku Upanishad, this atomic soul is situated in the heart of every living entity. And because the measurements of the atomic soul is beyond the power of appreciation of the material scientists, some of them assert foolishly that there is no soul. The individual atomic soul is definitely there in the heart along with the supersoul, and thus all the energies of bodily movement are emanating from this part of the body. The corpuscles which carry the oxygen from the lungs gather energy from the soul. When the soul passes away from this position, the activity of the blood generating fusion ceases. Medical science accepts the importance of the red corpuscles, but it cannot ascertain that the source of the energy is the soul. Medical science, however, does admit that the heart is the seat of all energies of the body. So in researching this, I started some conversations with some medical doctors who are researchers. And the recent information that is coming out about this point Prabhupada makes about how the heart is the source of energy, the heart is the seat of all energies of the body, is verified, or it's parallel with modern theories. And one of them is a discovery about the vagus nerve and its connection to the brain, and that there are more and more complex nerve endings in the heart than there are in the brain, and that there's a way in which we feel with our heart, or we intuit with our heart before the brain even knows it. In other words, the heart goes first. So oftentimes I walk around, I observe the world, but I forget that I'm seated within the heart, which is, according to one of the Upanishads, which I'll show you later, is situated like a lotus flower, because Krishna is there sitting on the lotus of our hearts, and we're right next to him. All the energies that we are experiencing in our bodies and our lives are coming from the power of the super soul within our heart. We're just dependent. And the way the blood is being energized in our body is because it's coming through that region and coming in proximity. So when we're chanting, we can remember that we're there within the heart region. And also that by coming in contact with Krishna directly, Namachintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha, Purnashudha Nitya Mukto, Abhinatvam Namanamino. There's absolutely no difference between Krishna and his name. So the way to rise above all of the anomalies of the material world is to come directly in contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What to speak of red corpuscles being energized. When we come in contact and stay in proximity with the name, then everything else is rectified. So we can remember Krishna in our heart and chant to the Supreme Personality of Godhead who's there within our hearts. And just a simple prayer that please engage me in your service. So, dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, dear Sri Paramatma, who is always with us, if you so desire, please allow us to remember you today as we chant. Take full shelter of your holy names and of you who are our eternal protector. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. We'll start with the Panchatattva Mahamantra 3 times and then Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
Gaur Premanande Haribo. So first of all, chanting Hare Krishna is as right as rain. Doesn't it feel good to be doing the right thing? Because so many other activities in life are uncertain. Should I be doing this? Is this the right job? Is this the right thing to say? Is this the right thing to eat? Kadashi, everybody has a different idea of what's a grain, what's not a grain. So you might as well just fast and not eat anything. It's a very uncertain world, but one thing is for sure, everybody agrees. Direct prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is as right as rain. And so that's why it feels so good. Even if I'm not seeing Krishna directly as I chant, I still feel Acharya Van Purusho Veda. If you follow the Acharyas, they're the ones bringing forward this information that if you search through all the Vedas, you find that the most important point is this prayer to the Lord by using his name and developing attachment to him through his name. And it feels exactly the right thing to do. And it is. And faith means cultivating that understanding. That's what our knowledge is meant to bring us to, is this understanding this is the right place to be in prayer directly to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Second point is about cultivation. I just want to point out something that many of you have probably experienced yourself, but it's physical evidence from my bead bag. I put my hand in here and there's a hole right here where my thumb goes. Do you all get this? It just started coming out today because, I mean, this cloth is kind of thick actually, but my thumb is going like this all day, every morning. And you think that's no big deal. If you picked up a piece of cloth and thought, how long would it take to wear a hole in it by wiggling my thumb back and forth? You'd think like, I'm not going to do that. It takes a long time. But if you do it a little bit every day, it'll wear out. And the same thing with the beads. When I got these beads, they were white. And now they're brown and shiny because I just touch them every day. If you tried to do it in one day or even a week or 2 weeks, you could not make your beads shiny unless you use some chemical, but not by your fingers. But if you pick them up every day, then they will go to the shiny state. So I heard Prabhupada speaking this morning. Tamal Krishna Maharaj, as a very young devotee, was telling Prabhupada, as he was listening to him in awe, he was saying, Prabhupada, I always want to remember you speaking. I always want to be able to remember what you're saying and to be able to recall it and say it myself. And Prabhupada said, this takes cultivation. He said, everything takes cultivation. And so our right as rain process, where we sit down and chant every day and just do the activity because it's following in the footsteps of the Acharya Van Purusho Veda. Then you know everything, you're properly situated. And if you can cultivate that, then you've got a perfect life as a human being. And that's why it feels so good to every day finish your rounds and do the chanting of Hare Krishna. And I know after last week's session, I just felt great because I was thinking, wow, there's something in this Hare Krishna chanting. It just, and if we can stick together and keep doing this and get more people involved, then it's the only way to make the world a better place is to start from that level and then work outwardly. So it's a worthy cause. Let's take a few more uh, reflections, realizations that anybody wants to share from their chanting this week or today. Shankar Anand Prabhu, please go ahead. Oh, okay. Shankar Anand, then Bhakta Max.
So, Prabhu, when you were like showing this hole on the bead bag, I remember a beautiful quote by Dinabandhu Prabhu. He quotes in Braj Bhasha. So there's the saying in Braj Bhumi, that's in the Braj language. He says, "Kar kar ke abhyas jadmati hoy sujan, rasri avat javat se shilpe padi nishan." So this means, it says, by practicing, even the dull-headed person can actually become a gentleman. This is related to chanting, of course. But he says, there's an example in Braj Bhasha. It says, Rasri avat javat se shilpe padi nishan. So in India, we generally used to have the well, the water well, and they would generally construct a wall around that, made from stones, thick stones, the sandstone or some kind of stone. And they would use the rope for pulling the water out. So sometimes the wall is little higher, so they would throw the bucket tied with the rope, and the rope would be rubbing around the stone. And over a period of time, the stone would cut, and it will actually create a hole on the stone. So it says, with the rope, simply by going and coming, because of the water pulling from the well, it cuts even the stone with the rope. So similarly, by regular practice, even a dull-headed person's intelligence actually becomes, Sujan. Sajan means gentleman. So it's very much related to the chanting. If we simply chant every day, it actually, no matter how hard or how dull-headed a person may be, very much engrossed in sense enjoyment, will actually rise to a Paramahamsa stage.
Thank you, Shankaranand, for bringing that sweet pramanam, aitiyam. That's a nice imagery. We'll keep in our minds.
Hare
Bhakta Max.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. I was chanting, and whenever we first started, Srila Prabhupada was there. And I noticed that, and I realized it, and I thought, oh, this is really good. Prabhupada's with us. And then I'm chanting, and I'm closing my eyes. And then the next time I open my eyes, the Panchatattva's there. And then I think, wow, this is really working. Like I'm moving up. And then I realized that Vaishnavas are really, really rare. And then somehow there's like 100 of them here in this one spot, and we've all come together. And then the Lord's appearing through the medium of the internet. And then there's his picture, and they're all standing there. And I thought it was really beautiful, the way how we're all together, even though Vaishnavas are extremely hard to come by. And so that was definitely a profound experience.
Well done, Bhakta Max. Very beautiful, and all according to the highest shastric realization about appreciating Vaishnavas, also realizing the absolute nature of Krishna, that when he appears in his picture, he's actually there. When he appears in his name, he's actually there. And that's a kind of state of chanting when we make advancement in such absorption. Very good. Excellent. Thank you so much. Prema and Premi.
Krishna, Guru
Hare
Maharaj.
Hare.
So when you said about to share with others, to invite more people to practice Krishna consciousness, in the week I have that realization that the best way is giving books, because when you give a book, you have the opportunity, the best excuse to talk with people. Otherwise, how can we contact them? Oh, come on. Hi, how are you? I want to invite you to this or that. So each book is one invitation. So it's one contact. So that was my realization, to invite, to join people to this kind of programs on Krishna consciousness. So book, invitation.
Yeah, it's a really nice. Thank you for introducing it into this circle, because it's a profound point. And yesterday, a godbrother of mine who I hadn't seen for many, many years stopped by my house, and he had just written a book, and he gave me the book. And then I was realizing after he left, and I sat down to read the book, that books have a lasting effect. You know, the person may come and go in 2 seconds, but then the book stays there. It could be there for generations. And everything the person wanted to say is it within that book. It's a universe unto itself. That's very, very powerful. Thank you so much. Kalindi.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Um, Today I was in temple hall. There is one Mataji. She was chanting, and she was chanting so humbly that I could also feel Krishna's name, what she was feeling. So I was thinking about when I could able to chant like this, that I don't think about anything. Then again my mind went that, okay, I'm still thinking that how nicely she was doing, and still I'm not able to focus on my chanting. And then I pray to Krishna in middle of chanting that I want to just think about you, nothing else, no realization, no reflection right now. Just I want to think about you. So I was chanting outside Krishna's name, and inside I was telling myself, I'll just think about you, nothing else. I'll just think about you, nothing else. And outside I was chanting Krishna's name. So that really helped today.
Nice realization. And it's a testament to the power of association. I can relate to that. As I've mentioned before, there's a couple of godbrothers that I've chanted with before, and it always sounds to me like they're drinking a beverage when they're chanting, like some nectarian beverage. And I'm always thinking like, wow, I'd like to drink that beverage someday too, the way they're drinking it. And we do get inspired by our association primarily. So it's so important, as Bhakti Max said, you know, that we all come together. Thank you so much for sharing. It was beautiful. Shamalangi.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj, Dandavad Pranam, Jai Shri
Hare
Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Because you read today morning about, the atomic soul and, staying in the heart. Somehow, while chanting, I was trying to look into my heart today. And, we've read in Bhagavatam that the size of Paramatma is, I think, a size of a thumb, around 8 inches. And then the size of a soul, it says that around, I think, 1/10, I don't know, 10,000, the tip of the hair, I think the size. So just trying to reflect within the heart that how come such wonderful things are happening, in my body only. This is like, it's there. So that's why I was just getting amazed by thinking about that.
Yeah, thanks for remembering that. The quote I brought in the beginning that I got yesterday from doing my research. And, I was thinking after I read it, there was a lot of scientific points about how we have capillaries and veins in our bodies. If you stretch them all out, it goes for like, well, I don't have the numbers in front of me. If Nirkula remembers, she can report it, but it was something like 10,000 miles or something. And just what one of the thoughts was, what an amazing machine we have. I mean, if you tried to make something by chance, it wouldn't resemble anything like this. It's perfectly designed. But the gist of it was that it's all designed actually as a resting place, as a sitting place for the soul to take full advantage of the process of devotional service. You can exploit it and use it for another purpose and totally waste the most valuable asset that you possibly could waste and be a kripana or a miser. But it's so easy by following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to actually take full advantage of this apparatus that's been provided by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And not only that, he sits right there with us and is ready to guide at any time. So what could be more sublime than just trying for it and being sincere? Because I was thinking also how sincerity means don't hide anything. Just admit, I don't have what it takes. I heard Prabhupada this morning when I was listening and doing some other things, getting ready, and he was saying, I do not claim to be a pure devotee. I claim only that I'm following my Guru Maharaj. And so, this is the mood that he instilled in us. Just follow Acharya Van Purusho Veda, follow the Acharyas, and everything good will come from that process by their mercy. And so this is the most important of all the processes. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining Japa Circle, Make Japa Great Again. And the vibration that we created today, Prabhupada said it will go around the earth 7 times. And so keep the transcendental vibration going. And I'll look forward to seeing you soon. Hare Krishna.
Natari Armarman, Natari Armarman, Natari Armarman, hey, Natari Armarman, Natari Armarman, Natari Armarman, Natari Armarman.